Hello, and welcome to the coronavirus update video number 30.0. I'm very sorry I'm a little bit late, just running around trying to get things sorted at the last minute, so a bit chaotic, but yes, I'm here. Welcome to my little daughter's nursery, and let's just jump straight into it. Now, for all the new people who have just signed in, my name is Adrian Cockings. I do a daily show here talking about the coronavirus here in Spain, the local measures that have been put into place, the national measures that have been put into place, and basically talking anything to do with coronavirus and Spain related over the last 24 hours here in Spain. So today is Tuesday, the 14th of April 2020, and actually today in the Murcia, or the region of Murcia, is actually a public holiday, but actually not. So normally this is a day called Banda de la Huerta, and people dress up in the huertanas, and I've been running around the house trying to find my outfit that I normally wear, cannot find it anywhere, so I'm very sorry. If I do find it, maybe I'll post a little photo of it afterwards. But yeah, it's a traditional Spanish holiday, Murcian holiday that they have. It's basically the day of the harvest, where millions of people go to the city centre and they have a big party. That is literally it. So hey, maybe we'll have it next year especially. Okay, so just like normal, I like to go through all the latest updates and all the statistics over the last 24 hours and the numbers especially. But the biggest number that I just want to talk about first of all is yesterday we reached 5,000 likes on this page, which is unbelievable. I never actually thought that this page would get up to 5,000. I never thought it would get to 1,000, let alone 5,000. So for anyone who is sharing these videos and liking, commenting, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate it, because I know that these figures or these videos are getting out to people who don't know the rules and they don't understand Spanish, so I really appreciate everything that you are doing. Okay, so let's jump into the numbers and the statistics, okay? So as of today, the 14th of April 2020, there are 172,541 people infected. That is 3,045 people in the last 24 hours. And this is actually the lowest it has ever been since the 20th of March, which is unbelievable. We have got a very low rate of infections. And as for the recovery rate, we've got 67,504 people who have been cured or recovered from the coronavirus. And that is 2,777 over the last 24 hours. And unfortunately, like always, we do go through the deaths as well. And this is 18,056 in total. And that's 567 in the last 24 hours, which is just a little bit up than yesterday. But from what we can see from the infection numbers going down and the rates still staying in the 500s of death, this is actually great numbers at the moment. So yes, what was officially announced yesterday from a government official, yes, we are over the peak. And what it looks like now, we are on the decline. So great news. Also, some stats that came out today as well, with the amount of people talking about deaths and everything. Well, in total, the deaths rates for residences, that is 11,390 deaths just from residencies or elderly homes. And this is over half of the death rate in Spain is basically in residences. Which just goes to show these numbers. I got an email yesterday, are the numbers being counted in residences? Then yes, they are being counted. However, in the UK, they're not counting people who die in residences or nursing homes or at home, which is crazy, because in Spain they actually are doing that, well, what I know, in the residences as well as hospitals as well. So yeah, care homes are included about this, all right? Okay, let's move on to the latest news as well. And the latest news that has been coming out especially is the quick tests that have come out in Spain. They have been arriving, and the government have been using a lot of these quick tests. And what we predicted, or what I predicted anyway, that the numbers were going to go up because of the quick tests actually coming out. But actually the numbers keep going down, which is great to see. But quick tests at the moment, you can actually now get quick tests done on the private healthcare sector, but these will cost extra. So some statistics that came out today and some information that came out today, the companies that are doing these tests for the coronavirus, they're charging from 100 to 300 euros just to have a coronavirus test. And this isn't actually a quick test. This is just a 3 to 5 day test, which they do in the laboratories. So private sectors, yes, they are able to now do quick tests, and if you do have private healthcare, you might be able to ring these companies and see if they are offering it. However, yeah, from 100 to 300 euros for this test. Again, if you don't have the symptoms, I wouldn't bother with it. But a lot of people were asking about where can we get quick tests done. Now, this is not available to the public. You actually have to be prescribed to have a quick test done, and this would be from a local medical centre, from a doctor or an ambulance or a health service person who will come to your house if you have the symptoms. And if you are showing symptoms in hospitals or anything like this, then yes, you'll probably be prescribed something like this as well. Now, some other good news that actually came out as well. With these private healthcares, they are using private laboratories to do these tests. And actually, the government are now taking control of these private laboratories to make sure that the tests are being done properly and all in the same order. So this is actually great news that the government are trying to get hold of this and making sure that these tests are done correctly. So that's good news as well. But as I said, these laboratories, they're going to be having thousands on a daily basis. In each laboratory, they will have over 1,000 tests to be done if they're quick tests or just a normal test. So there will definitely be delays in results. So if you have been prescribed a test and you have done the test, then this could take a while for the results to come back. If it's a quick test, it will be hopefully on the same day or within 24 hours. However, if it's with another test, which can take 3 to 5 days for the results to come out, it could take a while, of course, to see the results. So yeah, we'll also go on to now the next bit of news, which is still people moving around. We've had a lot of people and a lot of messages on here, especially, and on my phone and emails, basically asking what do we do if we see someone who has come to occupy a second home that they have down on the coastline. Yes, there are still people moving, and unfortunately I can't stop them. It's such a shame that they are still moving. They think they have the power and the right to move from their current home inland Spain to the coast just for an Easter holiday. I think it's a bit reckless that they actually try to get away with this, but the police are out and about, and like I said in other videos, previous videos, they have issued 500,000 fines since the lockdown has started. So that's 500,000 fines have actually been put into place. So this is a lot of fines, and they are still finding people, and there are still stop checks on most major motorways, but unfortunately they won't be able to control all of the main roads or all of the back roads as well to get from people to get from their homes inland to the to the coast. So it's very difficult to control all of this. They are doing their job, and they are finding a lot of people for moving and trying to get to second residences, but this is going to happen. But what the news has actually come out today, these homes that are down on the coast, they're second homes, beach homes, the government and Guardia Civil are actually working together with utility companies, more specifically water companies, to see the differences between last year's and this year's water bills, to see if something has actually rised up even more than last year. And if this is the case, there might be a visit from the Guardia Civil around that area to see if there is any suspicious movement going on. So this is another good thing that the government are starting to do as well, because they are only trying to track the people who know where, for example, it's basically flat throughout the year, but Easter and summer it's full. They will look at this and they will know this is a holiday home, obviously, and they will actually take this into consideration when they go and hopefully try and sort something out. Now, this has been tested in Valencia, but this could be going national. It could come into the regions where you are as well. But yeah, who knows what's going to happen with that. Right, let's move on. I need to sneeze and it's going to come out in a second, but I'll keep going on. Sorry about that. And yes, into my elbow. You always have to do that. Okay, also, the government, a lot of people have been messaging me about whether the government are going to be monitoring your phones. And I've actually had a few people, not many, but a few people saying that my friend heard Guardia Civil on his phone and stuff like that. Again, these are rumours that are coming out, and these types of things I'm very, very skeptical. Unless it's actually happened to you and you can tell me it happened to me, I would still kind of say, okay, well, do you know it was Guardia Civil? Do you know this? Do you know that? I would be very, very suspicious about this, okay? However, the government have actually put out something, basically a proposal of what they might do in the future, where the government will send through an application to most mobile phones, You do not have to click on this link. You do not have to apply to this link, but this click will basically take you to an application, and this application is basically a daily report that you can monitor your health with. So if you are taking your temperature daily, you can monitor it in there, but it can also work with the GPS to basically make sure that you're not going out of quarantine. So this could be good for people who do have the coronavirus and have been tested and they do have the coronavirus, and if they are going out to supermarkets and stuff like this, then yeah, it would be something that they would be able to monitor through the GPS. However, personal opinion, I don't think it will be something that will be implemented. You know, this is just a proposal that was put into place. And my wife has my other cats. You're not going to chuck into me, are you? No! 1, 2, 3. Okay, for anyone who wanted to know, this is Larry. This is my other cat. You met Bubbles yesterday, and this is my other cat, Larry. He was scratching on the door. I didn't know if you could hear, but my wife just let him in. And did you want to be on camera? Did you? If you want to sit on my lap, then you can stay here, okay? Where was I? So yes, this application, I don't think something like this will be put into place because people have the choice whether they want to opt into it or not. And I don't think the majority of people will actually opt into it because, of course, they would have the fear. Oh my God, so much hair. They would have the fear of if they are being monitored, and you know, I don't think it would work. You know, the simple application of monitoring your temperature and things like this, I think is a great idea. But monitoring your location, I don't think is going to be working. I don't think this would actually be implementing. Okay, Larry, do you want to go out now? Yeah, do you want to go out? I'll see if he meows again. Okay, let's move on to the next news. Now, regions, especially Murcia, the region that I'm in at the moment, some regions have actually been talking with President Sanchez, and they have been requesting that the lockdown be slightly lifted before the 26th of April. Now, again, this is all, a lot of people are just saying that they're, you know, it's just talk at the moment. Nothing has actually been put into place. But basically, what the regions are asking that the lockdown could be slightly lifted for people to go out and walk, okay? Especially if they have young kids or something like this. Larry? Yes? What's up? Hang on, 1 second. What? Say goodbye. Bye-bye. There we go. Okay, let's carry on. Okay, so basically what they've been asking is for families to be able to go out and just go for a walk, even if it is close by, but at least families who are in the same household to be able to go out and to walk, you know, get the kids exercise. And the main issue that a lot of the presidents of the communities, the regions of Spain, they're worried about the health of children. You know, being locked up for so long, it can be very, very hard for them. And of course, it's not just physical, it's mental as well. So the presidents, especially for Murcia and a couple of other regions, they have been requesting that something like this will try to hopefully come into place before the 26th. But again, nothing has been announced, nothing has been said that this will go into place, but until it happens, I will keep you posted, okay? All right, let's move on to a couple of other things. Okay, speaking of Murcia, the region that I'm actually in, today with two other regions, it has more cured than death. So this is another highlight that I just wanted to say today, because this is great news that the region of Murcia has more people cured than they do death, which is amazing. I'm really, really glad to see something like this actually come out, and this is news that we should be looking for and trying to share, because this is the great news. Okay, more news. Ice rinks. Now, of course, when this whole lockdown came into place, and of course the death rate started rising a lot, the major cities such as Madrid and Barcelona and Castilla-La Mancha, they started turning ice rinks into temporary funeral homes, or morgues, basically. Now, of course, the media in the UK had a field day with this. They started putting this as scaremongering. They started saying it's fearful, there's not enough room, and it's da-da-da-da-da. And actually, the good news coming out of this is a majority of these ice rinks have not been used. And in fact, they've started closing down the ones in Madrid and Barcelona because they have not been used at all. So this is great news. Now, of course, I applaud the government for putting in protocols and putting in measures that could help for someone in the future. Maybe, of course, with they didn't know how it was going to go with the whole coronavirus and the death rate. So for them to put in measures, something as easy as just putting an ice rink as a morgue, something so simple, but the fact that it hasn't been used is great news. So seeing that today, again, highlights it's really good news coming out. Okay, let's go on to work. Now, of course, yesterday, a lot of the self-employed workers were able to go back to work. A lot of the construction department and factories were able to go back to work. And office workers as well, if they can't telecommute or telework from home, then they are also going to be going back to work. Now, this was yesterday, but in a lot of the regions of Spain, it was a public holiday yesterday. In fact, a lot of people didn't go back. However, today, majority of these people are now going back. But I just want to talk about the news that has been coming out, and the news that I said yesterday, for anyone who wasn't watching yesterday, about the construction department or the construction sector. We'll just go through the news basically, and we'll talk about some other issues as well with self-employed and being able to work. Okay. So yes, today is basically everyone's going to be going back to work. So you'll probably see a lot more people working today than there were yesterday, of course, depending on the region that you were in. Now, for these people to go to work, you do have to have certain documentation to be able to go to work, okay? So let's take an example for a maintenance worker, someone who clears, I don't know, like a gardener almost, someone who clears the grounds on a communal area, such as the gardens or plants, or cleans the communal areas. I've got hair in my mouth. Let's take someone like this who is self-employed, okay? This person will need to have with them at all times their NIE or DNI, and the certificate of work. Now, certificate of work is something you can write yourself, and this basically suggests the reason that you are going to work. Okay, so for example, cleaning. If you're a maintenance, then you're cleaning, and the addresses of where you need to be going to, of course. Okay, so the addresses, and if you can put on that piece of paper your home address as well, that's all you will need for the moment to take with you all the time. However, it has also been suggested that you take the last 3 payments of your self-employment, because of course, a lot of people who were self-employed, on the 14th of March, they stopped their self-employment, and the payment is of course at the end of every month, and a lot of people came off and haven't paid the month of April, the month of March, So some people aren't up to date with the payment. So if you haven't paid yet, then you will need to be updated with this, and you will have to have a receipt to be able to prove that you have paid this payment. That's what you should take with you. Now, this is, again, just in case the Guardia Civil ask something about your payments, if you're up to date, if you're legal, and this is just proof to say that you are legal, okay? So a lot of places of work, they're also taking precautions. Now, office workers, for example, they're taking precautions, and they're actually putting in their own measures. Now, this doesn't have to be something that the government has said that they have to do by law, but this is something I think is actually quite good. And I think most places of work, such as offices or even construction sites where you do have co-workers around you, I think these measures are actually good. And the precautions are taking temperatures before entering an office or a construction site or a factory, and actually taking temperatures afterwards as well. There is masks that should be available, but also not necessary. It's not a law to have a mask. There are only certain laws of when you should be wearing a mask. Of course, if you're in a company vehicle or a work car or work vehicle, then yes, you will have to wear a mask if you are with someone in the back row. And these precautions put into place of taking the temperature, for example, I think it's something that we could all do just to monitor. If you are going to work, just keep a monitor of it. You know, there's no harm in having an infrared thermometer just to take your temperature before you enter. And gloves as well. Gloves are not mandatory to wear, but the rules are you do have to keep a minimum distance of 2 meters. Now, a lot of people have basically been arguing, well, I'm not going to be able to do my work if I have to keep more than 2 meters distance. And I've tried to do research on this, I really have. But the actual fact is there is no official there's no official law to say that you can't work, but the precautions are to take 2 meters away. So again, it's very, very wishy-washy. Well, as with all the documents that do get released, we can't actually have an exact list of everything that you should be doing and every single person that should be working and what they should be doing, because the government will be able to do for every single job. So we are basically given a list of rules that we try to follow as much as possible, and we just try to keep up to date with those laws as much as possible as well. Okay, let's move on to the next parts as well. So yes, people who are self-employed, and a lot of people have been asking me about key holding, or property management or something like this. Now, key holders, as we know, if you are self-employed, you are able to go, if it is an emergency, to go and check on properties, okay? That's what we have been told. This hasn't been released by government officials to say that it can happen. Again, like I said, if the government to say every single job is a yes or a no, it will be impossible. So what we've actually been told is, yes, property managers can go and check on properties, but it should be for a reason only, okay? Now, the reason stated should be, for example, if it's after a rain and the area where you are is prone to flooding or prone to damage from water, then yes, this would be a reasonable excuse to go and check on it. Also, if you have high utilities and it's maybe the swimming pool or something like this could be at risk, then yes, something like this will be allowed to go and check on the properties with a cause, basically. So that's all I can suggest with that. This hasn't been released by the government, but this is what I've basically got from the information that I've been given, okay? Okay, moving on. So the people who have been going back to work, as I said before, masks are not mandatory, however, they are advised. And in fact, the video that I put out yesterday, there were in fact 10 million masks being distributed through the whole of Spain. And these masks are going to be distributed on a lot of the public transport. So for example, in Madrid and Barcelona, this will be on metros, buses, trams, and stuff like this. But they're also going to be trying to hand them out door to door as well in a lot of the smaller villages and mountain villages and stuff like this. So we've already had a couple of comments of people saying, yes, I received mine the other day. Someone from Red Cross came and passed me the mask. Great news to see that. And they are still today, because of course a lot of people are going back to work today. These masks are still being handed out in the hundreds of thousands. Now, one precaution that you should take as well, if you are taking a mask from someone, they will have gloves on, which is good. However, what you should do is ask to take it from the plastic wrap that actually comes as the pack, okay? So of course you've got the pack of 100 masks, let's say, and it's wrapped in plastic, okay, for shipment. What you should ask is to take from that plastic wrap. You should not be handed one by someone who has gloves on, because again, this could be a risk of someone who has coronavirus and who has contaminated the gloves and then passing to you. This was just a precaution and a bit of advice that was basically released out today, and I thought great advice that I should share with you. Okay, let's move on. So yeah, the workers that have gone back today, congratulations if you have gone back. Unfortunately, I'm still at home. I'm in real estate, and real estate agents cannot go back to work because it's classed as an unnecessary need, and we can telework from home. So it's a shame, but anyone who has gone back, congratulations. Now, there are some other things that you should be thinking about when you are going back to work as well. Now, the government are advising that if anyone has symptoms of a fever, a cough, or lack of breath, you should automatically stop what you are doing, stop working, advise the people around you that you are feeling unwell, go home and self-isolate until the 14 days. That's actually the advice that the health service have been putting out. If you look at Ministerio de Sanitario on Facebook, they've been releasing a lot of these infomercials almost, saying everything. And also, if you don't have any symptoms or anything like that, great, you can still go back to work. But the precaution is when you come back to work, of course, when you've got the risk of going home to a family or someone who is in your house, the best advice that they have given is to take off your clothes and put them in a washing machine straight away. Wash your hands as soon as you come in, and then take a shower, okay? That's basically what they've been asking for everyone to do when they come back from work. And I think it's, again, great advice. Okay, we'll move on to ERTE payments or benefit payments. Now, I'm doing a bit of research. A lot of people are asking when the payment's going to be coming through. Now, the ERTE and paro, which is basically the unemployment benefits that are coming out, normally they're on the 10th of each month. Now, of course, there were over 500,000 people who signed on for the ERTE, and of course all the self-employed trying to get benefits as well. They're going to be so many people trying to get this. Now, they basically put out an announcement today that these payments for the 10th of this month of April are going to be delayed. Now, we don't know when it will be delayed till, because of course it is now the 14th, which means it is 4 days delayed. It could take another week. It could take another 2 days. We don't actually know, and they haven't given a specific day, but they say they are still working on it and they should start coming in soon. However, for the month of May, this will be on time. So the month of May, the 10th, if you are still unemployed or you're still on ERTE, then yes, you will still get money on the 10th of May, which is great news there. Okay, and moving house. This is the last thing that we're going to talk about today. A lot of people have been asking about moving house and whether they are allowed to move house during the lockdown. Now, as I've always stated, you should try and stay where you are. Of course, I've got clients myself where they've been trying to move from one place to another, and we've had to hold off on a lot of these clients moving because, of course, we haven't had the actual rules come through. So basically, when you, if you are moving house at the moment, there should be certain protocols that you have to take. And of course, there are certain ways that you are allowed to move and the ways that you are not allowed to move, if that makes sense. So the people who are allowed to move is one, because you have to move for emergency reasons, such as your property where you are in at the moment is damaged beyond livable. The second reason is if the property is going to be used by someone else. So for example, if you're in a rental contract and you know that another person is coming into that property on a date, then yes, you will have to move. Those are basically the only two reasons why you can move and the only two reasons why you should move. However, a lot of people have been asking about whether they can move house with removal companies. So moving companies, again, if they are self-employed, they are going to be able to work. However, with the rules stating that you have to stay 2 meter distance away from each other, I actually don't think that removal companies will be able to work, because the majority of things, if you think about a wardrobe or cabinets, these are two-man operations and they're not going to be 2 meters away from each other. So again, I don't think removal companies are going to be able to work. And if they are caught, I don't know this for sure, but I predict they're probably going to be fined by the police because this is not going to be a justified reason. That's all I can say on moving house, unfortunately, at the moment, because we haven't been given all the details. We have only got 2 weeks to go, but it's all wishy-washy until this actually comes out by a government official, because we don't know. We really don't know what is actually going on at the moment with that. So if you are trying to move on at the moment and trying to move to another property, the best thing you can do is try and stay where you are. If you are renting from someone, try and speak with that landlord and ask them for an extension to at least the 26th, and then you should hopefully have a bit more information about this as well. Okay, and the last thing that we're going to talk about today, before your question of the day. Last Sunday, I actually was in a webinar invited in from a couple of lawyers that have been doing a lot of live feeds, giving legal advice to people during the coronavirus situation. And they've asked me back as a special guest, a sole guest, on one of their programs that is actually going to be for real estate. Because of course, I'm in real estate myself. I'm part of a family business called Keystyle Properties. And they've invited me back for, of course, my professional opinion about things as well, but also to ask questions with regards to the real estate industry and anything that you guys might have. So this is actually going to be on Thursday, April the 16th at 6 o'clock. So I'll still be doing my 4 o'clock daily video on Thursday. But then again at 6 o'clock, I'm going to be live and I'll share it on here as well. Basically asking a couple of lawyers about the legalities of moving house, the status of maybe the notary office, and other questions that you may have as well. So if you do have a question about anything to do with moving house or the sales and property market or anything like this, message me privately. I will take a note of these questions, because what I'll then do is then ask these questions live. They're also going to be asking me, of course, professional opinion about the real estate market as it is at the moment, and what I predict it will be in the future as well. So you guys can stay tuned on Thursday, or tune in on Thursday and come and join in with that discussion. It will be on Zoom, an application that we use for live meetings, but I'll also share it onto Facebook as well on this page at 6 p.m. So make sure you are here on 6 p.m. so you can come and watch live. And that's it. That's all it is today. So after all of this lockdown, like I said, we've only got 2 more weeks to go. And a lot of my friends have actually been messaging me, of course, with my baby girl. They're of course missing Lily, and they want to see photos on a daily basis. So this is actually going to be your question of the day, okay? So with us being away from friends and maybe from family as well, I think the first thing that a lot of people will be doing was trying to meet up with friends, and trying to meet up with a lot of friends they haven't seen in a long time, or maybe through the whole emergency stay. So your question of the day is, who is your best friend? All right, that's going to be your question of the day. And I want to know some different stories about how you met this person, why they are so amazing. And if you want, you can actually comment their name down below as well. Tag them in this video. Maybe they haven't seen these videos before, and maybe it's a bit of information for them as well. So that's going to be it for today. Who is your best friend? Give me some stories, even if they're funny stories as well. You know, you can cheer me up with those lovely stories that you keep sending through. Who's your best friend, okay? Now, as always, I'm going to be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. If you can share this video out with any groups that you're a part of, any friends or family members that you may find, that they may find this effective or helpful at any time. So if you can send this through to anyone as possible, that would be fantastic, because again, I still can't share. I can like now, which is good, but I still can't share anything. And remember, 8 p.m. every single night, get onto those balconies, get onto those terraces, give a round of applause for the people who are on the front line, giving their all to make sure that we are all safe, okay? Guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for all the love hearts, all the likes, all the comments. I really do appreciate it, guys. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye.